I'm going to use After Effects to create a fluid along the path. We're going to be using the Mr. Mercury's filter. We're going to get started with a solid layer. So I'll go up to Layer, New Solid. And the color is insignificant because we're going to develop a path first for which the fluid will follow. So I'm going to scale this down to something about that size. And I'm going to animate it in its position. So I'll start over here. I'll hit P to get the position attribute up on my layer. I'll set the first keyframe at the beginning of my timeline. I'll advance about 6 seconds. And then I'll move my object to where I'd like the animation to end. Now I can move along this path and further refine how I would like this fluid to eventually travel. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to introduce yet another solid. And this layer will be the one that will define the color of the fluid. So I'll go in and I'll change the color to something other than the red I use for the path. And I'm going to go to Effect, and I'm going to go down to Simulation, and I'm going to choose Mr. Mercury. Now it helps us start to drag through the timeline a bit to see how this actually works. You'll notice that the effects attributes are over on the left-hand side. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down and I'm going to change the resistance. I'm going to bump the resistance up to about 1. And again, any of these features can be played with and customized. I'm going to change the animation from explosion to jet. And then I'm going to change the gravity to 0. Now, you may want this liquid to travel across screen and stay on for a certain amount of time. I would change the longevity from the default 2 to something larger. And in doing so, it'll stay on screen for the duration of that time. So if I was to drag through my timeline now, that blob will essentially stay in the middle of the screen for the amount of time I've put in under longevity. Now the next thing I need to do is put this on the path that I've created using this solid red. So once again, I'll return my playback head to the beginning of the timeline. I'll click on the word position, and when I do, it selects all the keyframes. I'm going to hit Command-C to copy those keyframes. And then I'm going to click on the layer with Mr. Mercury. Again, the effects will appear on the left-hand side. I'm going to click on the stopwatch to the left of the word producer to initiate the first keyframe. And then I'm going to hit Command-V to paste those position keyframes to the producer and Mr. Mercury. I can now turn off the red solid because it was simply a reference. And if I were to drag through time, now I've got that liquid following that path. I can further refine this if I choose. In the Mr. Mercury filter, I can change the blob size, the birth and death size to increase or decrease the amount of fluid. If I wanted this to look more three-dimensional, give it more viscosity so it seems thicker, I could open up shading. And if you were to take your ambient light and reduce it, you'll see now it has a more three-dimensional quality to it. And there you have it, Mr. Mercury.